Today we're going to be making purple sauerkraut, so here's our ingredients.
A 3-pound head of purple cabbage,
About 2 tablespoons of real pink sea salt, fine ground. A teaspoon of caraway seeds. The first thing we're going to do in the process of fermenting our purple cabbage to make sauerkraut, we're going to take a sharp knife, we're going to cut our cabbage down into quarters, and then I'm going to chop it all up. You want to make sure that you're making a really fine, thin slice, as even as possible. You could also use a food processor for this. Okay. Sprinkle with some of our salt, some of our caraway seeds, go right in there, and make it a good mix and a good pound. And it starts releasing the juices from the cabbage, and it starts turning a really dark shade of purple-blue through this process. And what we want it to do is release enough juices to make a brine to cover the cabbage when it's in our mason jar fermenting. It's best if you can walk away from your sauerkraut for about 30 minutes to an hour and just let it do its job. Let the salt pull out all of the moisture from the sauerkraut so that you have a nice brine for it to be submerged in your jar. What I'm going to do is use one of these ball funnels, and they fit on these jars perfectly. And then I'm just going to start to add my sauerkraut a little bit at a time and packing it down into the jar. And right now I'm using a half-gallon mason jar. It's a ball jar. Works just fine. Any kind of glass or crock that you have, you can make your sauerkraut in. Make sure that you're storing it away from your kombucha. Make sure that you're storing it away from your sourdough starter. I keep it in a cabinet. It's just my vegetable fermenting cabinet. As we push it down, you can see that the juice is starting to come up. We're just going to keep on filling our mason jar with this violet, deep violet colored sauerkraut. In about 10 days, it's going to be more of a fuchsia, pink-red color. It's my daughter Hagen's favorite thing to eat. She loves purple sauerkraut, but by the time it gets to her, it's pink sauerkraut. See, there we go, that beautiful purple brine. Purple sauerkraut is full of health benefits, including anti-inflammatory and antioxidant, and sauerkraut is also used alongside treatments for stomach ulcers and other intestinal issues, IBS, things like that. Eating fermented vegetables is really good to do with every single meal. Fermented vegetables aid in digestion. They're just going to help everything process through your body much smoother, much more efficient. Your body's going to be able to absorb all the nutrients from this cabbage. Red cabbage actually has about 8 times more vitamin C than green cabbage, so that's another reason to use the red or purple cabbage when you make your sauerkraut. The next thing I'm going to do is put our sour stone inside of the jar, and this is a sour stone for wide mouth jars. It's a weighted piece of glass, and it's going to keep our sauerkraut submerged below the brine. It's really important that we keep the sauerkraut submerged below the brine so that no mold or any other stuff starts growing inside of there and contaminating it. On top of that, we're going to use a Mason Tops pickle pipe, and this is going to keep all of the bad stuff from going into our jar, and it's going to allow the gases that are produced during the fermentation process to escape from our jar. There we go. So this is now ready to be placed inside of my cabinet, where it will sit for about 10 days. And after 10 days, I'm going to start tasting it. And this is the color of our sauerkraut after fermenting in the cabinet, and it's just beautiful, beautiful, and full of flavor and full of lots of beneficial bacteria that are going to help your guts. Delicious stuff. It's breakfast time, and this is what Hagen has requested, and we're going to have some other food in just a minute, but this is keeping her happy right now and quiet. For more kitchen madness from the Holistic Homemaker, subscribe to me on YouTube.